So we now want to set up our project. And first of all, I'll set up the project structure I want to work with. Now, I won't recreate the exact structure of Create React App, but a fairly similar one. I'll create a source folder in our root folder, and in that source folder, I'll add my index HTML file, so this single page which gets served in the end. In that file, we can run HTML, and in Visual Studio Code, I now get this snippet I can use by choosing this HTML5 snippet and hitting enter. I get a HTML5 boilerplate out of the box. You can of course also write this manually. So this should be the starting HTML file we work with. If you got any imports from CDNs of fonts or styles, you can add that in the head section. The scripts and any other imports generated by the workflow will be injected into this file automatically though. We'll add a configuration which does this to our setup. With that, I'll now add a div to this body, which should get a specific ID, root. This will be the div where we'll later mount our React application to. With that, the index.html file is done. Now let's set up the other parts of this project. In the source folder, I want to have an assets folder where we could store images or anything like that we use. I also want to set up a components folder and a container folder. So basically the same setup I used in my other project in this course. Now I also want to create a React application. For that, I'll create an index.js file in the source folder and an index.css file, which I want to use for some global styling. So this will be imported in the index.js file. There I'll import that index.css file, where I then can set up the body rules to remove the margin of the body, any padding we might have, and also to set the font family. Let's simply set it to sans serif here. So this is a basic setup there. Now I also want to add a app.js file, which should be my root component. And then, so that we can really see that all of that works, I want to set up a basic React project, which isn't super amazing, but which uses routing and lazy loading so that we can see if that works, and which just simulates a lot of features we might use in a typical React application. For example, it should also incorporate an image. Now I'll set up this demo React project in the next lecture. You can also skip this if you just want to see the workflow setup. I'll provide the finished project at the end of last lecture or attached to next lecture. But if you want to see it, I'll walk through it in full detail so that we set up a React app here from scratch. Let's do that in the next lecture.